Good morning, everybody. I'm going to right now catch you guys up on vocab so that we're ready to go on Monday. So go ahead and get out if you don't have it yet, because why wouldn't you already have your vocab journals, right? Um, Pause the video or something and then grab the vocab journal that you've been using all year. And if you don't have your vocab journal, just I guess start either on binder paper or type these into like a word processor like Word or Google Docs, but I'm going to go up to 120 today. And I'm pretty sure that we got Livid last time that we were together. I'm pretty sure we got Ludacris because we talked about the rapper and how he's been in like so many movies too. I don't know. I don't remember talking about Lugubrious, but I would probably say that right now, the majority of the population is feeling quite lugubrious. Just because of everything that's been going on, especially today. Like it's cloudy out there. Like what the heck? It's like the middle of April now. Where's the sun? Where's all the flowers? Where's everything? Machinations I remember talking about because we talked about that one SpongeBob episode where Patrick says something like, "The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma," and then like there's a bottle of milk that spills. Um, I don't remember if we talked about magnanimous. Maybe we did. Very generous or forgiving, uh, I guess, especially toward a rival or someone less powerful. So, like, let's say that I made a mistake on somebody's grade, and let's say I'm really adamant about not changing anybody's score, but then I realize my error, and very, I am sorry for, sticking to my guns and not changing your grade. Malevolent, think about like Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. If you're inclined, to watch Disney movies, um, Maleficent was always like my favorite Disney villain, but then that kind of changed when Disney came out with the movie Maleficent, and I was not really a big fan because it kind of humanized the villain, and I didn't want Maleficent to be humanized because then like I watched the cartoon Sleeping Beauty, and I'm like, oh well, okay, I totally understand why she's doing what she's doing is because she had a really really horrible life, and her wings were cut off. Sad. Um, Meticulous. So I think when you are baking, and a lot of you guys might be doing a lot of baking because when I went to the grocery store for my groceries for the week yesterday morning, there was no flour. So I guess during the quarantine, everyone's just taking up baking all of a sudden, which is fine. But when you do measure out your ingredients, you have to be really meticulous because baking is one of those kitchen activities that really requires you to pay close attention to measurements. Um, and I found out this the hard way because one day I was making pancakes and the recipe called for a teaspoon of baking powder, and I didn't read teaspoon. I don't know why I thought teaspoon meant tablespoon. And so instead of getting, like a little bit of baking powder, I actually ended up putting probably like 3 times the amount. And they puffed up so much that I couldn't really even eat them without having to drink like an entire carafe of coffee because they were just so thick. Metal, a person's ability to cope with difficulties. And this was actually a pun in Macbeth, when Lady Macbeth sort of emasculates him and says, "Bring forth men, children, bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunting metal will produce anything but." Um, so he's talking about both this metal and also like the metal, like a iron or something. Here we have mollify, which maybe is a little bit more difficult to do with small children because they don't think rationally, which is another reason why I probably wouldn't be able to teach elementary or maybe even junior high kids, is because they are a little irrational sometimes. Like one of my colleagues told me a story about her daughter when she was like maybe 4 or 5 or 6, and they were walking like in the Target parking lot, and all of a sudden she started crying, And my colleague was like, "What's wrong?" And she goes, "I can't step on your shadow anymore." And she was like, "Well, that's fine. We're going into Target." And she, like, the child, not my colleague, threw herself down on the ground and like started having a little like fit because she couldn't walk on her mom's shadow anymore. But anyway, she apparently couldn't mollify her right there in the Target parking lot. Um, a motley, it's just it's like a mixture of something. A lot of people think of like Motley Crue. I'm not 100% sure why. I don't really follow up with that band. Ask your parents, though. Your parents might know Motley Crue and why they called themselves Motley Crue. Multitudinous, that's just a lot. I mean, look at the word multi. That was pretty obvious. In that sentence, the mooing of multitudinous cows and pigs revealed that a rebellion was imminent, and that is a reference to Animal Farm, which we will begin talking about next week. And then up here, number 119, you have negligence, a failure to take proper care in doing something. Usually, when we think about this word, though, we think about um, like negligent people or negligent parents, sometimes CPS, which stands for Child Protective Services. Like they have to come out to a home because either the children aren't being fed, they're not being properly clothed, they're not living in conditions that are suitable, to live in, or even parents are being a little bit emotionally abusive. And then they would come out, remove, if they found that the parents were being negligent, which is the adjective form, then they would remove the children, put them into foster care, and then, I mean, it's just a big, ugly mess. And then finally, obfuscate is to render obscure or unclear or unintelligible. Usually, though, for devious purposes. So, like, um, if I didn't want to share with you guys, for example, that the assignments that we do from here on out won't count negatively towards your grades, I could obfuscate and say that they might, or maybe they will in the future, or something like that. Something that's not necessarily clear, something that doesn't clearly communicate to you that it does not count toward your grade. But anyway, that's the vocab that I'm going to catch you up on for today. Sorry if I went a little fast. This is kind of like a trial run to see how this is going to go from here on out. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.